We all have this deep down longing for a better world, right? An ideal society. Well, what if the blueprint for that world was written down thousands of years ago? Today, we're going to explore that very idea, the quest for an ideal world.
I mean, just imagine it for a second. A place where all the stuff that weighs us down just isn't there, you know? Where fairness is just how things are, kindness is the way people operate, and life is actually genuinely good for everybody.
Yeah, really picture that. A society with zero poverty, where violence is just a bad memory from a history book, and all those things that divide us, gone. Replaced by this incredible sense of community.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a complete fantasy, right? But there's this ancient text, the Book of Moses, that tells a story about a prophet named Enoch and his people. And get this, they didn't just dream about this ideal world, they actually built it. They created a city so unified, so good it was called Zion. And the story goes that it was eventually taken right up into heaven. So the big questions are, how in the world did they pull that off? And what does their story have to do with us today? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. We'll start with the ancient quest for Zion. Then we'll look at what an ideal society really is. We'll talk about the King of Zion, a God who weeps, how we can build Zion in our own world, and we'll finish with a future of hope. All right, let's jump in. First up, the ancient quest for Zion. And you'll see this isn't just some old story. It's an idea that feels more relevant than ever in the world we're living in today. So this whole idea of building Zion, it's this recurring theme all through human history, isn't it? It's basically our collective dream of a society that's better than what we've got, without all the conflict, the inequality, the loneliness. Enoch City is like the original blueprint, the model that people have looked to for ages as they've tried to build something better. Okay, so what was their secret sauce? What made Enoch City so different? And what does Zion actually mean anyway? Let's get into the details of the blueprint. The text gives us three key things. First, they were of one heart and one mind. That's not just getting along, that's a deep, radical kind of unity. Second, they dwelt in righteousness, which basically means they lived with fairness and compassion every single day. And third, and this is huge, there were no poor among them. Think about that. It shows just how committed they were to taking care of each other. And this gets to the absolute core of it. Zion isn't just a place you can find on a map. It's a condition. The scriptures define it simply as the pure in heart. So it all starts on the inside. It's a personal change, a transformation of what you want and why you want it before you can ever build that kind of society on the outside. I mean, look at the difference here. The way the world often works, it can lead to fighting, to division, to everyone just looking out for number one. Zion's way is the complete opposite. It's built on unity, oneness, and this really deep, active love for other people, which the scriptures call charity. It's a total flip in how a community works. Okay, so you can't build a society like this on good intentions alone, right? It's just too big. The source material is clear. You need a guide, an architect who lays out the vision and gives you a solid foundation to build on. And in this really powerful vision that Enoch has, the identity of that architect becomes crystal clear. A voice declares, "I am Messiah, the King of Zion." So this isn't just about a spiritual teacher. This is about Jesus Christ being the actual foundation, the king of this perfect society. And each of these titles tells us something important about his role. Messiah, that's the Savior. King of Zion, the leader. Rock of Heaven, that's the unshakable foundation you build everything on. And even righteousness itself, that's the standard, the very character of the whole community. Okay, now we get to what I think is the real heart of the whole story, the why. Why is this so important? Why go to all this trouble to build a better world? And the answer we find in this text, it's really surprising and honestly pretty moving. So let me ask you, how do you picture God? Is he some distant, powerful being who's just uninvolved in our day-to-day struggles? Because the vision Enoch has completely shatters that idea. It gives us a totally different picture. This part of the text is just, wow. It says God looks down on the world, at all the suffering and bad choices, and his reaction isn't anger. It's not indifference. He weeps. He actually cries. It shows a God who is so personally invested that his heart literally breaks for our pain. And Enoch the prophet is completely blown away. He basically asks, how can you weep? You're God, you're perfect, you're eternal. His shock just shows how radical this idea is. It reveals a God who feels deep empathy. And that empathy, that's the motivation. That's the powerful why behind this whole quest for Zion. So this idea of a God who feels so deeply, it's not just some interesting theological fact. It's a call to action. It's what makes this whole quest for Zion jump from an ancient story straight into our lives, right here, right now. It becomes something personal that every single one of us can be a part of. And the path to building Zion isn't some giant, impossible leap. It's really a series of small, deliberate steps. It starts inside, with purifying your own heart. Then it's like a ripple effect. It moves outward to creating real unity in your home, then to actively looking out for people who need help, and then to promoting peace in your neighborhood. It's a total grassroots thing, but one person, one family at a time. All right, so to wrap this up, let's look to the future. Because Enoch's vision wasn't just about what happened back then. It was also a prophecy, a promise that this whole quest to build an ideal society is definitely not over. The prophecy lays out these steps for the future. First, righteousness comes down from heaven and truth comes out of the earth. This then inspires this huge gathering of people who are all in on this Zion ideal. And the prophecy says it all leads to the founding of a new Jerusalem. Yep, Zion, right here on earth, once again. It's a really powerful vision of hope, isn't it? And it brings us right back to where we started. The whole point is that we don't just sit around and wait for a perfect world to show up. We have to actively build it. One person, one kind act, one family at a time. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. How can one pure heart really change the world?